the water system. Jane?
In my opinion, the water system is owned by the city of Asheville, and it's owned by the ratepayers that have paid into it all of these years.
Tim?
I'm a little confused by your question. No, I'm just kidding. The Supreme Court back in the 50s ultimately said it's a public water utility managed by the city of Asheville. For those of you that have been keeping up with it, I have proposed a change in governance in regards to who actually oversees the public enterprise. And I've had the opportunity to go back to 1797 moving forward and really learn the history of our town and this, in regards to this question, the history of the water system. So from my standpoint, and settled law, it is a public enterprise that is owned by the ratepayers. The city of Asheville merely manages it.
Susan?
The ratepayers are part of the city of Asheville, and some of them are in Buncombe County. And if they own it, then it needs to remain under local control. And local decisions should decide the governance. I think it has been under good governance with Asheville City. They have rebuilt many of the water lines, improved the water quality, and I would say poured a lot of money into it, and have provided a good water system.
One of my biggest disappointments from my time on the Board of Commissioners is we failed to reach agreement on some water issues and on a few other things that at the end of the day, this community's got to figure out how to work together. If we're going to always fight each other and argue, then we're going to get what we deserve. And that's why I-26 connector's not built. That's why that we can't do the important things that we need to do to move this community forward. And at the time that I was on the Board of Commissioners, all 5 commissioners at that time felt like the best solution would be an independent water authority. That's a collaborative process with the city of Asheville and combined with MSD. MSD works well, and that was a voluntary agreement. I think in a perfect world, it should be decided locally, and city council and the county commissioners should solve it. But if it can't be solved locally, somebody needs to solve it. Just like if we can't build this road locally, somebody needs to build a freaking road.
Get everybody with that question. Because if not, we got another one coming. All right. Let's see. Let me find what sequence I'm in. All right. Here's the question. Do you feel municipalities should be able to use water and sewer as an incentive to annexation? Nathan?
Well, all the discussions about water, the first thing I tell people, it has nothing to do about water. It has to do about the ability of the city of Asheville or any municipality to encourage a developer or anyone else. If you want a sewer tap, you want a water tap, you come into the city of Asheville. The conversation I had with a former city manager who was a very good city manager in December of 2000, we were talking about the water authority, the airport authority, and other things, and about how the city and the county could work together. And he told me he didn't think those things worked really well. They all needed to be run by the city of Asheville, to which I told him, I think we really need to work together. And from what I'm hearing from you, it's awfully hard to work together when you're saying you need to run everything in the community. So, and this is not a popular statement, and I probably shouldn't say this in a political campaign because somebody else will do a direct mail piece, but in a perfect world, I think we ought to have a unified local government. That's not popular out in rural areas of the county. It's not popular here in the city of Asheville. But at the end of the day, we're in the same boat, and we need to figure out how to row together.
Tim?
Could you restate the question?
Do you feel municipalities should be able to use water and sewer as an incentive to annexation?
So essentially, should the withholding of water and sewer compel someone who needs it to
That's
join
the
the
way I
city? Okay. No. I think that you run into some significant challenges when you allow municipalities who manage public utilities to use that as a weapon against people that are not part of the city. We have issues here, it's all annexation related. We have issues down east. We actually have municipalities that own electric companies, and they're faced with the same types of problems. So in simple terms, my answer would be no.
Susan?
First of all, let me just say that annexation is not a simple question, it's complex for a lot of different reasons. One of the traditional ways that municipalities have used to lure people in, I guess you could say, is by saying, if you want to access our water and sewer, you have to become a part of us. One of the few ways that any municipality has of growing its tax base is through annexation. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing depends, I think, sometimes on where you live. I live in the county. Do I want to be annexed into Weaverville? Not necessarily. On the other hand, I don't want Weaverville to wind up in a position where it can no longer grow because it is hidebound. It's surrounded by areas that it can't grow into. So it's a complex issue. It's not a simple yes or no. And as I said, it depends on which side of the divide you live as to whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The question was about, should municipalities be able to use water and sewer to lure or annex
As an
other land?
incentive.
As an incentive, excuse me. In Buncombe County, water cannot be used as an incentive to annex because of the Sullivan Acts. So here in Buncombe County, that lure cannot be used. In other areas, it can be used. It's legal to use it. And if you're asking the question in other counties or just here?
Just here.
Just here. Well, we have the Sullivan Acts that have been passed for several years, and it cannot be used by law as a lure to annex.
Okay, next question. Do you favor relaxing the annexation laws in order to make it easier for the municipalities to annex? One more time. Do you favor relaxing the annexation laws in order to make it easier for municipalities to annex? Tim?
I've spent 2 years doing the exact opposite. So to answer the question would be no. I think that we have to address the issues that are problematic within all of our municipalities. I would say every level of government, from federal to state to county and to city, structurally has significant issues. But the cities were the only ones that had the opportunity by law to force people into solving their problem against their will. And I think that's not good public policy. By removing the forced annexation capability from our cities across the state, it's going to force them to really look at things that are more appropriate to grow the tax base if that's what they want to do, whether it's redevelopment, infill development, things like that. We should be able to live where we want to live without the threat of someone coming and forcing us to do something against our will.
Jane?
Okay, I think Tim and I both agree on this annexation issue, generally speaking, that I'm also and always was against forced annexation. So I'm not for relaxing the laws. at this time. In this area, again, water cannot be used as an incentive to annex. Just remember that because of the Sullivan Act.
Nathan?
I don't support forced annexation. I don't think that municipalities should be able to go and say you come within their corporate boundaries without your consent. I think it's a very legitimate discussion that we have, and one of the things I am proud about when I was on the Board of Commissioners, that we consolidated our 911 dispatch systems so that if you call 911, it goes to a consolidated center in Asheville Fire, Asheville Police, Buncombe County Sheriff's Department, all our emergency responders, that we better coordinate. In 1981, we had a water agreement that read that water agreement, as I said, had less to do about water and more about making sure that city taxpayers did not pay for regional expenses. And I think city taxpayers shouldn't pay for regional expenses, but that's something that the county commissioners and the city council need to get down to and solve. So, for things like Asheville Civic Center, McCormick Field, other regional things, no, the city shouldn't bear the brunt of that. But that's something that our local folks should be able to work out and solve and to address those equity issues.
Susan?
I don't believe in forced annexation. That gets back into local issues, local control, local decision-making.